Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Building Blocks podcast. My name is Matt Winley and I've got two very special guests here with me. I'm going to do a tiny little bit of housekeeping first. This is the first of our, let's call it next iteration of episodes. We've obviously finished the first series, which was called Season 0, of the Breaking Barriers documentary, and each of those episodes had a supplementary podcast. Now we are getting into the nitty-gritty of the season. Berwick City has just played their first game of their 2026 campaign, and that is what we are here today to wrap up. We're going to have fortnightly podcasts of the Building Blocks podcasts throughout the course of the season to keep you up to date with how Berwick is going, but also sandwiched in between a bit of a review and then a preview. We're also going to have interviews with key people in the Australian football industry. This week's interview is with Marco Rojas, the guy who was in and then out and then in and then out. And that's going to be a storyline at Berwick City throughout the course of 2026. Safe to say we could have done with him on Friday night at Jack Thomas Reserve. I suspect maybe the result might have been different, but we can get into that then. So this is how the cadence is going to work until season 1 of the Breaking Barriers documentary comes out in October, November sort of time. So we're going to have special guest hosts each week. We're going to try and make it where practical to be like a player or a coach from the Berwick City senior setup. But this week we thought the off-field was just as important as the on-field, given it was the first night, I suppose, of our, amazing new project that we're sort of embarking upon. And what a night that it was at Jack Thomas Reserve. So I thought it was more pertinent to get two of the stars of the Breaking Barriers documentary, Harry Lawrence and James Barr, in front of the camera to have a chat about all things Berwick City and what we thought on Friday night. James Barr and Harry Lawrence. Harry is in front of the camera for the second time on the Building Blocks podcast. Jimmy making his Building Blocks podcast debut. Welcome, James.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And hello, Harry.
Hello again.
Oh, nice. All right. Where do we want to start? So we deliberately have done this so that we can actually save time in the office rather than sitting around and talking shit for 30 minutes about the game. Off the camera, we just thought we would do that on the camera and turn that into the podcast. Where do we start with Friday night? It was one of the biggest crowds in the club's history. They struggled to get 100-odd people to the games, in previous years. Conservative estimates were around about 600-ish on Friday night. Record bar sales, record merch sales, thanks to Harry, who was selling merch like hotcakes. So off the field, it was an amazing success, and we will get to that. On the field, it was a perfect Hollywood script, maybe not the one that was great for us.
Disaster.
Berwick City lost 2-0 to Brandon Park in round 1. Let's go.
You kick it off, mate. Come on.
Oh, yeah, where do you start? I guess off the field, and I sort of spoke to you at the end of the night on Friday. Like, I went in with no expectations, but I think from an off-field perspective, I think it's probably what I might have expected if you had to ask me.
Or hoped
For.
Yeah.
I think off the field, really, really good. A positive start in all facets. Seeing that many people down at the game, you would have had maybe a different experience because you were behind the bar.
Couldn't get
for
away.
A lot of it. Yeah, I know. So, with those record bar sales and you doing most of that work. So, I'm not sure how you saw it, but certainly me and Harry watching the game, most of it was a great atmosphere. Boys behind the goals were doing their thing. Even the Brandon Park fans were sort of getting amongst it.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. Yeah.
I thought it was really cool. Like, the community just really got around it. I reckon, that's what we need in Australian football. Like, you look at videos from, games over in England, your tier 7, 8, 9s. They only get, 300-400 people to games. But, man, there's a real sense of community and things like that. And I think that's what... A lot of time, yes, you get in your NPL 1, 2s and 3s to an extent, but it was nothing. I haven't been to anything that was quite like that just for a regular home season game.
Yeah.
It was just, there was this real sense of pride amongst a lot of people from the local area coming down, just walking down or whatever. And I think it was really cool to see. People getting around the merch, People were loving the tennis bowl game at half time.
Yeah.
People weren't loving the actual football on the field, but hopefully that doesn't ruin it.
Because of the result, not because of the quality was okay.
The quality is, mate, I was shocked how fast paced it was. It was literally like the first 20, 25 minutes. It was breakneck speed. It was just like back, forth, back, forth. It was incredible.
Okay. All right. Yeah, good. We'll stay with off the field for the moment. So I think, Jimmy, you talk about what you hoped for. That was probably around about what I expected. Maybe a tiny bit more. The vibe was fantastic. Maybe a tiny bit more. The club was not expecting it. I'd been warning Secretary Shahim, Tim, the president, who unfortunately was in England for the first, so he missed the first match. And now we're saying, he's not going to believe us. He comes back on Monday, today as we're recording, maybe tomorrow. He's not going to believe that we would just run off our feet the whole night. He'll see the numbers behind the bar and merch and maybe sort of get a grasp for it. But the fact that Sarah, our registrar, had to leave about half an hour into the match to go down to Dan Murphy's or wherever to pick up stacks more drinks because we had run dry. Fabio's pizzas ran out before half time, sold out. Like, that's never happened before. Like, it was off chops. And the car park was full. Yeah, way before the match. People were parked way down Fox Road.
Which we love.
It's fantastic.
We needed to... Producer Tristan, who we're going to introduce on camera at some point in time, you smooth man, who did a hell of a lot of work down at the club all day Friday and Friday night. You were meant to put up a sign directing people to the paddock. Why didn't that happen?
Tristan had a lot of things to do.
No, that did happen. It was at the front.
Yeah, so did anyone park on the paddock?
I assume so.
They didn't. They were parking down Fox Road.
Your whole thing's we need a sign. It was dark by the time the game started. So how's anyone supposed to see the sign?
I said that as well, but the sign was put up, guaranteed.
All right, fine.
So people need night vision to be able to see the sign.
Actually, in all seriousness, and that reminds me of something work-wise we need to talk about, because I said, let's talk about volunteers. So, and this is true of all grassroots clubs, and it's some of the beauty of this project that we're sort of getting our heads around. If it wasn't for people like Shahim and Sarah and Tim, this club doesn't exist. Yep. Like, they do everything. And the reason why the parking situation, I suppose, got to where it got to was because we don't have many other volunteers that volunteer their time. So if we had someone that was standing on the gate directing people to the paddock or like to the Narre Warren Footy Club across the road, like, then we could have done that rather than Tristan's sign work, which clearly didn't work. But
do you want to do your shout out now then to all the Berwick fans that we need a couple of volunteers to come
down? No, 100%. So we need to do a call to action.
Yep,
and I'll do it over the next few hours or days, but like to bring in more volunteers, because many hands make light work. Even if people can, spend a couple of their hours of their time for Friday nights, or like, a couple of hours of their time on, Saturdays for junior matches and stuff to take the pressure off. Because again, and again, this is true of all grassroots sporting clubs, not just football. So much is always left to too few. And then if they leave or get burnt out, which happens all the time, then what happens? Yeah. I think there's a real crisis for grassroots sport in Australia, for this sort of stuff, because people just don't have the time anymore, and maybe that sense of community spirit anymore as well. Because we talk about our parents who are always down at the footy club, the netball club, the cricket club, whatever. It doesn't feel like that happens as much anymore. And I know times have changed, but we definitely need more help. That's for sure.
Yeah. Volunteers make it all happen. Your wife, Ash, you want to give her a shout out?
Well, it's another one, right?
Over her.
So Ash came in to say hi to me at 8:15. I think she arrived. So it's half an hour before kickoff, and she came behind the bar, and then we were getting a rush at that point in time. So I'm like, can you just help? Because I was trying to sell those raffle tickets as well to the halftime game. And then 90 minutes later, she was still there serving drinks. The line was out the door, and it was funny talking to a couple of the regulars, as they come up. One of them, Craig Hunter, is an NPL junior coach, was just like, this is ridiculous. I'm trying to do a Scottish accent. This is ridiculous, Matt.
Oh, that was so
bad. Okay,
so
guys, I'm not going to do it. This is ridiculous.
That.
I need an express line. I never have to wait for a drink. And here I am so I think he ordered $100 worth of drinks, so he didn't have to come back.
But in all seriousness, if you live in the Berwick surrounding areas or whatever, and you got a spare few hours per week, 2 or 3, 4 even, come down, help out. Jimmy's going to get a post up on socials and Facebook and what have you. Put your name for it, because
even if you only have once during the year,
it's rewarding. You'll probably get on the doco if that's your thing. Like
Yes.
you'll, most likely. And you get three on the ground floor as we hopefully build something pretty special.
Yeah, it was a very cool night. Yeah, so we had obviously, we did a halftime game. So the club, the club, a couple of days before the documentary came out, somebody, I wonder who, rang up 3AW's rumour file and said that Australia's version of Welcome to Wrexham is coming. And we won the $100 Chemist Warehouse voucher for like the prize of the day or something like that.
The integrity of that segment is just going out the window.
Absolutely. So shout out to 3AW rumour file. And after I had spent that voucher in my head, one of our other sponsors, Bendigo Bank in Beaconsfield, one of the lovely ladies, Karen, down there who's on the board, emailed me and was saying like, I heard it on 3AW Rumour File, such a good idea, blah, blah, blah. I like it to be, great for the club to sort of give it away. I'm like, yes, that's what we'll do.
Damn it.
So, no, I kid. But so that was a good prize to be able to give away. And so we sold $5 tennis balls.
Why don't we ask the man who ran it?
Go, Tristan. We sold, what did we do?
So we had tennis balls being sold for $5 a pop.
Yes.
Lots of people bought them. We raised a lot of good money for the club.
Yes.
And
what was the idea of the game?
The game was to throw the tennis ball closest to you in the center circle.
Yes.
Whoever got closest won the voucher. And it went really well.
We bought 96 tennis balls during the week. You and a little bit of Jimmy numbered each of them 1 to 96. That was good fun on Friday.
So where did we go wrong?
I might ask you that, Harry.
Yeah. So we then split them up. So we had 50 inside with me at the bar, and we had 50 outside with Harry at the merchandise tent. 46 out with Harry at the merchandise. We had raffle tickets corresponding with to make sure that there was like a proof of purchase, right?
Yeah.
We inside were handing out a raffle ticket with the corresponding numbered ball. What was Harry doing?
Well, it would seem that no one informed Harry
Thank you, James.
that was the process.
Use some common sense, man.
Man, I had no idea what was going on. I was pushing a ton of merch. You have no idea. Sales for days. And then we're running some sort of bowl game. No one's told me how we're running it, what's going on. I'm bringing in the cash because we didn't have a till for the merchandise then. I'm bringing in every cash sale.
And you weren't logging the cash sales, which was fantastic. So we had to guess how many cash sales we did.
Like the dog bringing the morning paper to its owner. I was just bringing you cash here and there. And then I see you handing out the little raffle tickets.
Yeah.
And I what's these for? And then you just gave me this look. And then I went, okay, cool. Because you said, well, we just got to hand them out to anyone going in. So I thought there was a separate prize.
No.
That was the raffle prize
Harry's just
going
dishing
off
out
or
raffle
whatever.
tickets.
So I just started giving out random tickets that have no association with the bowl number or whatever.
So it ended up needing to be an honour system, which we called out on the ground. But luckily, it was I think the top three. We called the top four out, and each of them bought tickets from the bar.
Thank God.
So they had their corresponding raffle tickets.
But we'll get it right next time. We'll do a better brief.
We will.
Yeah?
Yeah, this was teething problems for us. Our first event. We'll do better next time.
We're learning. We're
Plenty
learning
of
as we
learnings.
go.
How good is actually his producer voice behind the camera? Actually, will be
sensational.
I always say he's
so
got a voice
smooth.
for radio.
He
It's
really
fantastic.
does. He really does.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool thing I saw though, just being at the merch table, is the amount of people just kind of enjoying themselves, having a bit of a night out. That's what it kind of felt like. Everyone was just like, as you would have noticed being on the bar, people were just lining up, getting drinks and all that sort of stuff there. And I thought like that was really cool to see. Food, enjoying the atmosphere, getting amongst the games and things like that. And I realized it's kind of like it's perfect for if you live. Once again, shout out if you live in the Berwick area. Or anything like that. What a perfect way to spend your Friday night. Just going out, having a few beers,
and I
drinks.
think further to that point, Harry, I stood with you for quite a bit of a Friday night, and you could tell people were coming up to the merch stand, and it was their first time at the club.
Yeah, they had no idea. They were like,
fantastic.
what can I buy? And it's like, sweet.
And just wanting to get around it, which was awesome to see.
Shout out to Turnkey Real Estate as well. Sponsor of the club.
One of our new sponsors.
I was just enjoying watching their group. They had about 7 or 8 people go down. And it was just red wine after red wine. It was just fantastic. They all had scarves on as well. They really got around, and I was like, "That's what we want."
But they did an awesome social media video off their own bat. They came down. We actually haven't officially announced all the sponsors yet, and we need to do a good job of that. But they came down and did their own stupid social media video, which was very funny.
It was a great video.
It was a great use of AI.
We should.
It was really well done. Enjoyed it.
To encourage people in the local community to come along. But they also fleeced you for merch.
But don't you think it's a great
free,
advertisement?
Because they deserve that as part of
If they're tipping as much money as they did.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course it's free.
Yes.
But like, don't you think it's just a great advertisement for kind of, you work in Berwick, or you work around Berwick, Friday, knockoffs, you don't want to head into the city, it's way too far.
Yeah.
You don't want to go home because it's Friday night.
Yeah.
Go 10 minutes down the road and
So I was
yourself.
worried, and I think I expressed it to you guys, I was really worried about the kickoff time. I thought 8:15 is too late.
I think it's too late.
Oh, you still do?
Still do.
I still think it's too late, but
Tristan's nodding.
we'll work through that.
7:50, I think we can all agree on.
So so it's twofold. They have to play well, they don't have to. But the reserves obviously are a factor.
Yes.
So if the reserves are on the same night, then we only have one pitch with adequate lighting that then is able to have and you can't obviously start the reserves any earlier than 6:15 because it's impossible. Obviously everyone's working. So then you run it sort of back to back. In an ideal world, I think if you're going to keep the reserves on the same night, you have that second pitch has the lighting where you can start, say, the reserves at whatever, 6:30, 7, whatever. Shut up. And he did the 6-7 thing. And then you can run the second half of the reserves concurrent with the first half of the seniors. Or you play the reserves at a different time, I guess. Look, I was pleasantly surprised by the amount of kids that were there, despite the fact that it was late. Because I speak as a father of a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. They were there. They had a great time. A lot of they had friends and stuff come down, so that was fine. But yeah, they were rat shit going home, and the next morning probably were as well. So yeah, I worry a little bit. But then by the same token, you had a lot of people there, really enjoying that night out. The club rooms were packed afterwards. People weren't in a rush to go home.
It was annoying because they couldn't pack up.
Yeah, exactly. So people of most ages, I think, are okay with it. If they've got kids that are not coming along, they can drop the kid. They can help put the kids to bed, all that sort of stuff. Still come down for guilt-free drinks after, assuming there's a babysitter, of course. Don't leave the kids at home by themselves. Can't do that. And then others, might work in the city or have kids' sport commitments in the late afternoon, early evening. So, that time can work. But I think if we could drag it forward another 15, 30 minutes, I think that would be ideal.
Yeah, definitely. And like some of the coolest things we saw as well, like another shout out to a sponsor, Berwick Mercedes. Thank you very much. Parked the car up. I was like right next to it in the merch stand. People were just interacting left, right, and center with it.
So what was the interaction? What was the activation?
The activation is they brought out one of their cars. I'm blanking what the car is. Big SUV, really nice sort of car.
It's very cool.
And the idea was you scan through it. We had a bunch of soccer balls inside the car. You had to guess how many soccer balls there were. If you guess the right amount, you win the Mercedes for the weekend. Which a lot of people getting around. I was just seeing non-stop people coming through. Scanning through and all that sort of stuff, which was great. So obviously another shout out. If you are a business in the Berwick area or whatever and you want people seeing your brand, activations, they're amazing. People get around it. Everyone's local and everyone sees your brand doing. And if you do something as fun as what Berwick Mercedes did, then it works. It really does work.
So Jimmy and I spent a lot of summer, or not a lot of summer, but like we were looking through over the summer the different examples of like halftime games and stuff like that we can do. So yeah, the tennis ball one we definitely ripped from a lower league club in England. We're going to do a crossbar challenge at some point in time. I haven't mentioned this to Tim yet, but I definitely want. So it's sort of like, penalty spot, you win something small for yourself. Top of the 18-yard box, if you hit the crossbar, you get a half-decent prize for yourself. Halfway line, if you get it, everyone in the crowd wins a drink at the bar.
Yeah.
So
sick.
On the off chance that succeeds, let's just hope the virality pays for the drinks.
It's like that scene from Semi-Pro where it's just like, corn dogs, Jackie, for all these people. We don't even sell corn dogs.
I think there might be insurance for that. Let's see. Anyway, but then, we need to come up with a bunch of other different games too. I think there's some sort of running race or like maybe like a three-legged race or something like that. It might be fun. I don't know. Anyway, there's a bunch of different things that we can do throughout the year because you want to keep people entertained and all that sort of stuff. What do you think of our walkout song, apart from the fact that the speakers are no good and we need to upgrade them? So if there's any AV companies in the area, we need to try and do a contra deal with you.
I think it's great. I think it'll sort of find its way a little bit. It's obviously just something we've thrown out there a little bit to start with. But,
What was it?
It was Heroes by David Bowie, which I think is a great choice.
We Can Be Heroes. Oh, no, that's actually the song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Heroes, that's
Yeah.
what it's called.
Yeah.
Right, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I reckon it's a great song. It's a great song.
Well, it fits the project, right?
Fits the project, fits what we're doing. The speakers didn't help.
The speakers didn't help.
And this is the fun of the project, right? Like, people think like, oh yeah, we're coming in, it's going to be
We're not
going to
get everything right from the
like,
start.
This is literally, I've never
No.
done much match day activation stuff on that scale. You haven't.
Can't say I
You
haven't.
haven't either, the producer. Don't know about you. I think you have.
What?
Sort of match day stuff.
Oh, not really. Not
But it's
a
just these
tiny
little,
bit.
it's just these little kinks, and like, it's almost the joy of it all. It's the fun.
Of course.
Like putting this stuff together. But the song's a great choice. I think once we get a good speaker system going, people will get around it.
Yep, agreed. One of my favourite parts of Friday happened very early on. So the ground has never had like good signage around it. And so we got one of our sponsors, Philip Bullat, put me in contact with a guy called Lachlan McGrath from Monster Branding a couple of weeks ago and said, he's local Pakenham, has done...
Shout out Monster Branding.
Yeah, well, no. So he's done a few things for a couple of local clubs around. Can we do something together? And then so we came up with a really quick sponsorship deal where part of it was contra. Oh, no, all of it was contra. And then we paid, market rate for the rest in terms of signage. And he said, look, it's late. I don't think I can get it turned around for round one. And I'm like, that's okay. And I was sort of thinking on Wednesday, Thursday, it'd be nice to have the signage, but maybe also too for the first game, it demonstrates where we've come from and then where we get to. He calls me on Friday morning and says, the signage is ready. I'm like, yes, I thought I might get this call. So that hadn't been factored into our planning for the day, but it's okay, no, bring it down. So he brought it down at 1 o'clock. And then Tristan and I were down there from 1:30. Like, how long could it take? How long did it take? How long were we doing? we were still
too many hours.
We were still putting up the last of the signs, and then thank God Jimmy and Harry also came along and helped do it.
And we're roped into doing it.
It was funny though, because I was on the laptop doing a bit of work, watching you guys do it. And it really hit me then and there, oh wow, this is so much more than just making a documentary.
Yeah, I think you guys all realised that. I think you guys all realised that.
Watching you guys do it, and then of course you had to grab the old signs, and you gave them a scrub down as well,
Yep,
a nice
did.
little refresh.
Yep.
Then you were putting up the other ones. It was just a full thing.
We were still putting up the last of the signs as the reserves were on the pitch finishing their warm-up for their game that started at... no, that's a little bit of embellishment.
Yeah, close to.
It was in the fives,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
So
Yeah, it was after 5.
It took more than 4 hours.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I was saying to Matt, they will remember this when we're playing in Amy Park one day,
Yeah, and we
When
got
we're
digital stands.
putting these when we were putting these signs up, and then one day we'll have some nice digital advertising boards.
Absolutely.
We will remember this moment.
We had a system too, and we just kept stuffing up that system. It was so frustrating. The amount of cable ties that we cut down after we'd already put them on was so... Anyway, but as we said to ourselves during the day, we don't have to do this every week.
I hope not.
Well, unless more sponsors come on board, which we will happily put up your signs.
Get in touch with Matt.
Yes, but yeah. Anyway, that was a fun part of the day, and it was warm too. We put sunscreen on. What else happened on? And then so one more shout out to the Berwick City Ultras. The kids that most of whom are either junior NPL players, junior community players, or sons and daughters of committee members, coaches, all that sort of stuff.
Do they have a name yet? The actual, or is it just?
They
Berwick
started
City?
up an Instagram account over the weekend. I think.
Yeah.
They've called it, I think they're just the BCSC Ultras, aren't they?
That's
Or
what they're
whatever.
calling themselves for the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Surely the Lions Den or something like that.
Yeah, they can do something.
Need
But
to- they need
were
a name.
so good.
Mate, they were great.
They were like 30
Fantastic.
or so of them. Maybe
Yeah.
even. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they had. They had a
Drum.
drum. They had horns.
Horns.
They had chants.
Flag.
What a vibe.
That
Yeah,
was
they had a
so
flag,
good.
yeah.
They were so
a
good.
tifo, if you will.
I'm not sure a couple of the neighbours were all that happy about the horns, but
You've got a story.
what?
Well, we may have received a couple of messages.
Yes.
What are you going to do?
No, we've got to be respectful of the local community.
Of
We're
course.
going to go have a chat to people and all that sort of stuff. But by the same time, these kids were having such a good time. Would we rather the kids be out, causing chaos on the streets somewhere else? Or
Yeah.
are they down there being part of their community, having a great time and helping others have a good time by bringing that sort of sense of fun?
Yeah.
I think it's great.
It was fantastic. This is what you want them doing. Like, this is what you want the community getting around, just having a bit of fun, with those little chants and all that sort of stuff. It was great.
As soon as the match finished, there was no more horns or noise after that, anything like that. No, it was, I thought they were fantastic. Okay, on the field, you couldn't have scripted it better. One of our favourite players in terms of his personality and what he means to the club has been there since he was like 6 years old. Josh Scarlett famously said on Wednesday night, "We have never won a round one game while I've been involved in the team." And then he turns around and scores in the first minute.
It was a great finish.
It's so good.
Super finish.
Puskas.
Like legit. Would have been a strike that Lionel Messi would have been happy with.
Yeah.
Except
if it wasn't in the wrong net.
it was for the other team.
Honestly, you actually like genuinely could not write it.
You wouldn't.
Like,
If
you put that into a movie script, people would be like, "No, that's just too stupid for belief." The only person I reckon in the whole stadium that was like thinking this is great probably would have been our videography staff in terms of like the story they can make from this.
Yeah.
Like Birchie, if Birchie wants to get on the mic for a second, how'd you feel from a story making perspective? How was that?
I didn't realise it was an own goal until after the match when someone told me. I thought it was just a goal. I was also lucky I captured it because I definitely was not ready for a goal to be that early. But thankfully I did click record just before he shot.
Which end were you at?
That was
The
his
one
end.
where he scored it.
So
Right.
he's on top of things.
No, because we had obviously Gospel was
Yeah.
down the other end. I just wasn't sure who was doing
No,
what.
yeah, I was down that end. I thought it was just a
I
regular
think
goal from there.
one of our video guys that was doing the crowd shooting actually shot it. He was just getting some panning shots of
really?
the crowd, and then all of a sudden in the background, the ball's flying over Pedro's head.
So I had that many people come in and because obviously being behind the bar, there was this weird noise that happened. And it was I'm like, what just happened? And then, the story changed about 16 times throughout the course of the night. Yeah, this person scored an own goal from 50 metres. Yeah, the other team scored a worldie from 35 metres. No one could get the story straight. But I've seen the footage. Absolutely, Josh flushed it, chipped Pedro from 35 metres.
Well, yeah, because I watched it happen, and you sort of had to do a double take. But did he just kick that from 40 yards into his own
He
net?
just was trying to do a proper back pass. And he just got under it.
Yeah,
I
the
think
keeper,
so,
the
yeah.
keeper should have dealt with it.
Genuinely.
But he wouldn't have been allowed to touch it, would he?
Well, not technically,
I don't know.
but
Yeah,
No.
I've seen plenty of
talk.
he
it.
tapped it, didn't he? He touched
Talk,
it.
Tristan
He touched it
Birch.
onto
Yeah,
the...
he did.
I think you could touch it because I don't think he's...
Yeah, he's not intentionally doing that.
Yeah, I think...
I've seen plenty of instances where back passes go wrong and keepers just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But if Pedro
So-
caught that, that's a freak. That's an indirect free
Yeah, I
kick.
reckon if he caught it, yeah, but...
If he caught it,
If he
maybe.
parried it, maybe not.
Yeah.
It's a murky rule.
I mean, maybe
Would've
it
been
is an
interesting.
indirect free kick, but at least it's not an own goal.
Because I don't think... He's obviously not trying to do a back pass.
No.
All right, drop in the comments right now. I don't know which one to look at. Drop in the comments if you think it would be an indirect free kick or just be A-OK.
Bizarre. And to be fair, I don't think Pedro was... Because I had a few... Unfortunately, no offense, Pedro. I had a couple of my mates who were in the crowd saying, your goalkeeper should have saved that. He's no good. I'm like, one, Pedro's very good. Shouldn't be down this low. He's a foreigner, so they can't play VPL or NPL. But also, two, don't think you're really expecting one of your teammates to chip you
Not
from
at all.
35 metres inside
No.
the first minute of the season. It's
Stiff. It's stiff.
Anyway, poor Josh. He's copped it a little bit. He felt really, really, really bad. But there's 21 games to go. So
Also, and
good for the drama.
I didn't think the scoreline reflected
No, so then
the
Brandon
actual
Park,
game.
who are one of the more fancy teams, they got relegated from State 1 this year, so obviously they want to go straight back up. They got what they wanted, and they just sat.
Mate, they executed the game perfectly. We were on the back foot, obviously, since the first minute or whatever.
Is it true that they had one shot on target for the night, and that was their first shot in the 90th minute? or
Tristan
something like
Shakin, he
that
said
could
yes.
be right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would say.
I don't
they're
remember
right.
too many others.
I mean, there was...
that? Smash and grab.
Berwick had a few moments as well. They really did. There was one where I remember Tristan was next to me on the merch stand, and we're going in on goal, and then it was probably 1-on-1, and the keeper saves it, parries it, and I look around, and he's actually just run down with the actual striker, following it along the line, like that bloke from Heidelberg, celebrating it.
I was hopeful. I was very
Shout out
hopeful.
Heidelberg running man.
Yeah, no, it was sad because the ball got so close to the goal so many times, but it didn't end up in the goal,
Yeah.
which was the annoying part.
It's football, right? And I think that it would have been... I don't think anyone's walking away from the other night going, that was an awful experience, I'm not coming back, because they didn't see a goal. But for those that aren't used to going to football, I think because of that pent-up energy that was there in the crowd. If there was a goal, an equaliser, like from say anywhere between the 70th to the 90th minute, the noise would have been like, it would have been awesome. That would have been a great moment. That would have capped off the night. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, like, good for the drama, and they'll bounce back. You'd have been more alarmed if it was a 2-0 battering that Brandon, and we looked like we weren't at the races.
Hats off though. I reckon like one of the players that I saw, Grant Harris saw about being 60% of the game for Sheeny. Incredible. Like anytime we got onto the ball, everyone just calmed down. He was able to ping balls left, right, and centre. I was like, it was amazing.
So that was his first game in what, 2 years, 3 years?
At least 3, I think.
So former Melbourne Victory player, NPL championship winner with South Melbourne and Oakley. Yeah, and come out of retirement to play with us, his local club. Yeah, you could still tell he was a class above.
Mate, he was incredible.
He said he was sore on Saturday morning, but it was a good sore, so he's looking forward. That we've still got potentially a couple of...
Are you allowed to say who the new signing's going to be?
Nope. Not yet. That's still a surprise until we get clearance. But yeah, so there's a couple of good signings still hopefully to come. I think it's probably a good segue. We'll come back after we have this interview to looking forward. But I think, we all agree that if one Marco Rojas was up front or somewhere near up front on Friday night, there would have been a couple that would have found the back of the net and the result would have been different. That's okay. He was there. He was being interviewed on the pitch at halftime and he was in amongst the crowd and all that sort of stuff as our community ambassador. So let's throw to an interview that we had with Marco Rojas last week discussing his football journey, where he's at with Berwick City. We ask him the question, do you think you're going to play any games throughout the course of the year? He gives his answer. And then when we come back, we'll have a look forward to what's coming up over the course of the next couple of weeks. Let's go from the beginning.
Yeah.
Why the hell did you come to Berwick?
I came to Berwick, well, technically for a long time. For the last 6 or 7 years, my sisters lived in Clyde North. So the M1 I've done a lot of times. And flown past Berwick, like in the car, a few times too. So I think... let me start that again. Why did I come to Berwick?
No, that's natural. Because that was a part of the... I wouldn't have been talking to you if it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
So you had a local connection.
Well, you gave me the extension of Fitzroy North to...
sort of southeast.
Yeah, so I'd kind of spent a lot of time around in this area, a little bit further out. Her partner's family is in Narrawarren. A little bit of a affinity to this place. When COVID was around, I lived with her for the period of, what was it, like 4 or 5 months when the A-League wasn't playing, or we weren't even training, maybe it was 3 months. And so at the end of the football career, with the mindset of wanting to kind of give back as much as I could, using football and other outlets, it felt like connecting to something in this space could be quite cool. It was triggered by conversations I'd had with yourself and then Tony, and it just kind of snowballed from there. Playing to not playing, whatever it was going to be, it's a bit of a journey. It was a bit of a journey for me as well, like retiring and figuring out if I still wanted to play or not. So it was pretty cool to be able to do it close to my sisters, to go out, see her and my nephew during the day and swing past at night time to train and give it a go.
So when I first hit you up about it, we had a really good conversation. What did you think of the idea and the concept from the start?
I remember thinking, shit, because I was pretty convinced that, not that the concept was shit, but I was pretty convinced that I was happy chilling out. But it was really cool to hear the idea and the forward thinking. I remember having a lot of questions, a lot of doubts, a lot of maybe even a little bit of like criticism towards what or how you might have gone about doing it or how you're going to do it. But in the end, it kind of piqued enough interest to meet the coach. And it was probably just a nice little place to sit in, a nice little thought to have on the back of having just stepped away from the professional world.
So we obviously were on the public record of saying that we spoke to people like yourself, Matty Cashini, Ross Archibald, Wade Decker, all that sort of stuff, I can guarantee you, with the greatest of respect to them, that their questions were not the same as your questions.
No.
We spoke a lot about community and what we're going to do in schools and all that sort of stuff. Can you talk a little bit about why you naturally gravitate to those sorts of questions when we're talking about a project such as this?
Yeah, so I think I remember having a lot of the initial questions in that space because I didn't want to play. And then beyond not playing, why I didn't want to dedicate that time to coming back onto the pitch is because I had kind of gone beyond that and was thinking beyond myself, and I'd felt like professional football for me had been a place where, for the majority of it, we're asked to think of what we do, how we prepare. I lived overseas for many years by myself, trying to forge a path into that space, and I missed community, and my family is community based. Like when I grew up in Hamilton, the family having fled Chile, I love like always telling their story as part of the connection to me because I am essentially them. And I remember growing up with everyone in the same place, like a big community, family community, and I kind of wanted to have that connection again. And on top of that, my family, very left-wing, the concept of giving back was something that's ingrained in my genetics, I believe. So it's only natural to hear anything now that I kind of, and during my career, but more so now that I hear about wanting to do something, it's about giving back. And even with Berwick, part of my thought process was like, well, this area has housed my sister and looked after them, and they've had the beautiful ability to have a house and these different things, and now raise a little boy. And if I can give back to an area that has given them that opportunity, then that would be really cool.
But it's not lip service, because you can't have those sort of genuine questions and that genuine conversation without actually genuinely meaning it. And then the first night you come down here, you spent time kicking around with the kids, you've done coaching with the junior NPL teams. So you actually genuinely love being in that space?
Yeah. Well, football is a space that I genuinely love being in, and the kids and the younger adolescents and younger people are the world's future, and honestly, in a world that kind of at the moment looks like it does, it just feels right to focus on them and to doing good and promoting like a positive role model, I guess, maybe a positive influence, or may it be a bit of advice or whatever it is. And also for me, like, it fills my heart, it fills my cup, and it just feels really great.
Why aren't you playing A-League anymore?
The honest, various reasons. I felt like with the habits that I had held and the later stages of age, I guess, it was becoming harder to stay professional and think less of myself, if that makes sense, and more of others, which is the space that I wanted to walk into. You train and you're often more fatigued, more sore, and that generally meant you had to do more things. I just found that I was becoming something that I didn't want to become, and I wanted to be in spaces where it was about giving back, where it was about giving what I could. And also professional football was like six days a week, even a seventh if you, depending on the type of person that you are. And I was ready to, in that time when we first spoke, I spent about 5 days of the week with my little nephew, and now it's 3 days working for a foundation and the rest around him. And I wasn't ready, I didn't want to kind of give that up, I felt like obviously deeply grateful for the opportunities that I had, but like I'd given enough time to be away from family and things like that.
Did the fact that the World Cup was on the horizon, New Zealand playing in it, I know you hadn't been necessarily in the All White setup regularly, but like it still would have been obviously a drive, like you still of an age where you could have made the squad. Did that cross your mind at all? Or?
Yeah, it's one of the probably childhood things that everyone kind of has. It's the first tournaments. I remember watching the USA 94 highlights reel, and then 98 with Dad, the French World Cup. So I'd write and I'd post some of the stuff, but it was a pretty hard journey for me. I think the first few 6, 7, 8, 9 months after after retiring and saying I was going to step away from it because of some of those things, and there's a whole lot of complications that maybe it's important for past players for me to start talking about in terms of like what's left after professional football. But I'm okay now, and I'm another fan now, and I'm another one of the many that just wish them the best of success. And like I said, like now in foundation work and family, deeply ingrained in like family life here, and more connected to my friends and stuff like that, more in person in lives, I'm way more comfortable kind of letting that stuff go.
So it's fair to say, because you kind of said it then, you've struggled with elements of stepping away from the game, just in not necessarily regretting your decision to step away, but just that transition from being a player to being regular Marco Rojas in the real world.
Yeah, well, it's just Marco, and like, my family all know that we have that last name, my friends too, so I think that's a bit of the difference. I definitely think it's an identity check for a lot of people. Depends how you go into it, depends, like, I often speak to my father about it, and like we went into it, no one in my family, no one really had that experience, and we were kind of just walking into it as best that we could, and then around me learning as best as I could. So it's definitely like a lot of what ifs for sure in my career, like afterwards, and then the more I was able to let go of it, the more I was able to heal, I guess. It became just a lot more gratitude than that sort of thinking, which is really cool. And I do think it's part of the journey when someone steps away from it. If they've stepped away from it in circumstances that probably weren't ideal. Europe, I would never say went ideally. It was a huge learning curve. I learned a whole lot about myself. But just heaps of, like, there was a lot of stuff, and then you just slowly pick your way through that and end up in a place where I feel really good now, and I can turn up in slides to late to a training and just kind of give what I can to what's needed at the time.
Can I ask a self-indulgent question? What role has being around Berwick over the course of the last 6 months done in terms of just helping you as a person forget a footballer? Might be not much.
Not a lot, since they're asking me to play.
No, but I feel like I feel like you seem lighter and freer than when you did when we first started talking. I'd like to hope and think that even if it's 5%, the boys here and or Tony or Tim or whatever, like, have they helped you at all? Like with
a lot of people here have been massive for me. Tony spent many probably hours speaking with me.
He does that with everyone.
Way to knock me. No. But that was great. I think even just the simple side of coming and training again. I'd played a couple of charity games, but just to move, like, this is something I've known deeply since I was 5, like almost 30 years. I was saying before, like, I come and do grounding on the floor, on the grass with bare feet, and it's like, no matter how busy I am, because of the connection I've had with this, I walk on air and it feels like a part of home, So it's allowed me to step back more frequently, more regularly towards the lights and things that I used to have when I was training as an adolescent for hours while everyone was inside, and it's deeply wholesome, I think, and that definitely helps.
It's a good bunch of guys out there too.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, good bunch of guys too. Yeah. And so that helps too, Good people.
How, like, just for the layman out there, like, what's the difference between a squad that's professional versus a squad that's just not playing for the love of it? You know what I mean? Like, is it the dynamic is? How do you explain it, or is it the same?
It's not the same, just like there's levels to professionals as well, I think. To the top level, to just under, to the middle, to the lower leagues or something like that. There are world-class professionals, and then there are different levels underneath that. And the same here, I think without knowing, like, the Melbourne scope of the whole NPL and the leagues around it, like, it differs at each level. It's honestly, the journey that is being proposed is going to be a tough one for sure. It's going to be a challenging one. It requires probably, aside from the players who maybe, and even they were the hard workers, it requires a lot. I'm really intrigued to see how it goes, and that's part of also what keeps me here too. And I think something that I didn't really touch on was the curiosity. As a footballer, I wasn't really asked to be curious a whole lot, and I love being there. It brings a sentiment for me to life that's beautiful and that I enjoy being in, and I'm real curious to see how it goes. But I don't think it's the same though. I think that it's football, and football can be very simple. A lot of coaches and players will often, we would revert to the simple stuff if we weren't in the best mind frames. Like myself personally, if I was a bit nervous for games, or level of a game, or the stature of a game was starting to overwhelm me, I would go back to what was basic, because there is that basic sense. But beyond that, there's so much. It's like games of chess, checkers. It's so much. Yeah.
Now they just play cards and try and fleece you on a Wednesday night.
Fleeced me once and I won once. Maybe they let me win, considering how the next one went. Yeah.
You were going to play, weren't you?
I was considering it, yeah, for sure. And played a couple of friendly games, so it's probably the closest that I would have got to considering playing.
What ultimately changed your mind not to play?
Family circumstances, the same reason why I left Chile, and as well as my own stuff. I didn't just leave Chile because my grandma was sick and I wanted to spend time with her, but that was almost 80% of the reason why. I had my own, wanted a break and stuff like that, and the same here. I have a nephew I spoke about. I have a grandfather who's unfortunately really ill, and a lot of aging family members that were always there for me when I was younger. And the question was why didn't I? The answer's in that space. From the personal level, my heart was with them, and the other things in my life that were coming, particularly the philanthropic space, and even the systems thinking, what I might be able to do, or what grouping players or like myself might be able to do for the game, just became bigger than, and we caught them on a set piece training, so set pieces or something like that. Yeah.
For what it's worth, I still think it actually says a lot to say no, because you would have people that would pay for the wrong reasons as well. Might just be
but I mean,
whatever, but so the fact it's still, there's a respect, I think, from my point of view, of being able to actually say no and not feel the pressure in any way, shape or form to say yes.
I guess the journey has made me quite philosophical too, and really think hard about, and I enjoy doing stuff, and football was one of those that got me out of my mind and just playing the game. I guess the wrong reason depends on who you ask. A lot of people make decisions based on necessities or things that are pertinent to them, but for me, it was actually, I think in the end I said to them, my heart's just not where it was. I enjoy the game, I love the game, I'll always be around it, I know that, and so that's a huge step from when I stopped. I won't be careful how much I talk, because you are holding cameras, your arms must be like that, but it was so from when I stopped, and it was I don't really want to be too close to it, to I know that I will be around it for a long time. If that's what I'm allowed to do, is good enough for me.
Is there any chance you get a taste for it during the year and want to chuck the boots on, do you think? This is not holding you to anything. I think it's just going to be a good reference point to ask you now, because who knows what happens in 6 months' time.
Yeah, never say never. Probably something I never said out loud either. Never say never, but
as you stand here now, it's no.
Or
realistically, no.
Yeah. I'm good where I am now. Yeah.
But you wouldn't keep coming down if you still want to be involved in some way, shape or form?
Yeah, wherever I can help. The journey that the club yourself is, the concept behind it all is awesome. Essentially, there's a lot of people, I think, not even just myself, that see what the game is and want it to be different without going too politically into it. And so it's look, I came and said to the club and yourself, I've been in environments that have been pretty big, whether I had a lot of success in them or not, like Colo Colo, Stuttgart now for what they're doing, Heerenveen, the national team, things like that. Even around people, coaches who have a lot of experience and have reached quite a high level. So just seeing things, and if I can help with anything, it would be really cool for me and hopefully for them to support them in that way. Yeah.
And can you tell us a bit about your foundation?
Yeah, not set up yet, but the one that I work
working
at.
towards? Like, what you're working towards with the Working
so-
Chili and...
Yeah, so I did a couple of social projects that just was kind of like what else was out there in terms of a safe space for people to come play football. Was no real competition, it was just about getting kids out there that probably wouldn't have the opportunities. The first one we did was in my father's hometown, which was really cool. All kind of lower socioeconomic or geographically maybe alienated kind of places or deprived. We went to the south of Chile to 4 primary schools, rural schools, which had like 9 or 11 students in the whole school, and the north in the Atacama, right up the top of Chile, and just created or facilitated a space for them to play, much like what I was doing at Victor in the community space, and it's kind of snowballing from there. I hope one day, kind of like, if I can open up a space for, like, from the start, like I had this, so my family had their life taken away from them for external circumstances, fled for their lives, found themselves in Argentina. If it wasn't for the UN, probably wouldn't have ended up in New Zealand, didn't end up all together. So like their story is an incredible thing themselves, to then in the first generation of me being born, the next generation being born in New Zealand, to be able to live from the concept of opportunity and dreams that I had. If I can give that back to, or help people that are in a position think about that, that would be awesome. So where it goes, I don't know, but what it has been is just been like an idea to give a bit of time and show a professional face to kids that maybe haven't seen many professionals or spend time with them. Yeah.
Nice. And last question. Do you think Berwick will play in the A-League one day? I don't care what your answer is. I'm asking everybody. A lot of people say no, a lot of people say yes. Just want an honest answer.
It's hard to answer that because the reality is, in the way it is, it's very, very difficult. Will they play in the A-League? Why not? I'm not going to say yes or no.
That's the spirit.
I don't think there's a definitive answer either way. But like I said, really intrigued and to see how it goes, and then really hoping to be a helpful hand in whatever way I can to help it get there or help it get as close as it can. Yeah.
Rightio. So that was Marco Rojas. Do we think Marco is going to play any games for Berwick this year?
I'm not going to rule it out. I think there's still a possibility, just from what we've all been through for the past few months, an absolute roller coaster. I think there's still time for him to change his mind.
That's too fence sitting for me. He is going to play. I guarantee it.
No, well, Marco sat on the fence. No, Marco is on the fence, but very much leaning towards the side of the fence that is a no.
But you don't rock up to the game, come to a halftime thing if you're not interested. Like, he'll put on a jersey. I'm confident.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just rapt that he's around the club. He's such a good human being. The kids absolutely love him. He's done some really good things. So, Marco Rojas being around the club and around this project and giving it his endorsement is still, fantastic. If he pulls on the boots later on in the year, let's, be amazing. Let's see. Right. So the next podcast comes out in 2 weeks. In between that time, we only have one more game because there's a week off for Easter. So we are back at home on Friday night again against Chisholm United, who lost, I think, 3-1 or 3. 3-0, 3-1 to Gippsland United on the weekend. So both teams coming off round 1 defeats. Again, it'll be 8:15, Jack Thomas reserve, Friday night. Now, again, this is not a match preview looking forward. This is part of the reason why I wanted to have you guys on the pod, is what are our expectations now like off the field after last week? We now realise the project that we're embarking upon. We'll get producer Tristan to come in at some point in time too. Discuss. Like, it's going to be very interesting. It was a beautiful weather night the other night, which was fantastic. This Friday night coming up, it's going to be like 14 degrees, like maximum during the day. I don't think it's meant to be raining. It's meant to rain during the day, or earlier in the day, but it's just going to be cold. So this is going to be the start of winter. It's obviously been an amazing night last Friday night. It was great being at the club on Saturday morning for juniors. There was such a buzz around. There were people saying, I couldn't come last night. I've heard it was such a good night. I'm going to have to get down next time. So I think it's unrealistic to expect that everyone that turned up last Friday night will turn up to every single game. But I also think there's a plethora of other people who were like, I've got FOMO. That was awesome. I want to come down.
Yeah, correct. Like, I'm almost more intrigued about this week than I was for last Friday, just by like what the crowd's going to look like. Like, how many people are going to look at what happened on Friday and be like, oh yeah, I really want to be there now.
Yeah, I definitely reckon last Friday was a proof of concept.
Yep.
This one's to see if it's legit. And I think, like, I'm hoping that everyone had a good enough time that we'll get at least, 50, 60% of returnees. And then I'm hoping on top of that, we'll get people, as you said, who weren't able to make it the first time or have now just heard about it and are keen to come down. Because I think, like, as I said before, like, if you live in Berwick or, whatever, you're looking for something to do on a Friday night, drive down. 10 minutes. That's all it takes. Like,
well, if you're going to go to the pub,
yeah, go to
come
our
to
house.
Drinks are cheaper.
Yeah.
Drinks are cheaper.
Probably too cheap.
There's live entertainment. There's a live sound system.
Or something masquerading as a sound system.
Yeah. But I think come down. It's a lot of fun. You can bring the kids. It's family friendly and all that sort of stuff there. And hopefully we're going to get a win.
We as Bruce can't afford to go chips in on every single game this year.
Yeah.
Because we also have jobs that actually pay us, and then we need to keep the bills going. I don't think the club also can afford to go chips in on marketing for every game. This is my thoughts. In the sense of, I don't think it's realistic at this stage for State League 2 to expect a stack of people coming every week. We kind of need to start showing, as you say, proof of concepts and build towards that sort of stickiness over the years as people sort of, as we hopefully rise up the pyramid and move more towards semi-professionalism and then hopefully one day professionalism.
Yeah. Well, not everything could be like a massive match day activation or something like we did on Friday night, but no. I'm hoping that people, will eventually become fans of the club, that they do want to come down, drive, as I said, 5-10 minutes to go watch them.
Yeah.
Have like a good time and then, they can just head home and it's pretty easy. But I think I'm hoping that the dates that we pick out in the future as massive match day games are the ones that we do draw those big crowds again and we do all that stuff, because we've got some exciting stuff that in our mind, in the concept that Tristan's drawing up and Jimmy and myself and you as well, that are like we're looking at. So hopefully when we do those things, there's a big crowd that rocks up. So
now we morph into just real conversation that we actually haven't had. We had a little bit at the cafe before, but Jimmy wasn't there.
Yeah.
So
this is unscripted.
This is literally. So I think Friday night against Chisholm, it just needs to look after itself. Of course, we're going to put out posts on socials and all that sort of stuff.
Who's going to be there?
As in out of us?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. So I am missing most of the game.
Yeah, awesome.
I don't know if I've told you, Harry, but I'm hosting the Casey Community Awards at Bundle Place.
You mentioned it about 5 or 6
times. Get around it.
Yeah, if you need any emceeing, he's your guy. He gets really excited about it.
I do. I love it. But again, that's like legit because that's paid work for Bruce. I need to do that.
Yeah.
So we'll get down. So I'm assuming that means Ash is behind the bar. Haven't told her that yet, but I think she wants to. She loved it.
Great.
Awesome. Tim, president, is back. So he can obviously give a bit of a chop out as well. Tristan's going to be there. Are you? Have we decided that yet? He's butting himself on. So Tristan is for some reason playing for Noble Park reserves, which is ridiculous because he should be playing for Swinburne. I've said to him he needs to prioritise Noble Park games if they clash, but I think this Friday night you are coming down to Berwick instead.
Yeah. Like we're gonna have a conversation about it.
No, okay.
Right?
Oh my God.
I thought we already had the
This is
conversation.
so awkward. So this is someone talking
No, you
to
will be
their
there,
boss
Tristan.
right now on air.
We had the
and you're
conversation
making him go
yesterday, I
through
thought.
this.
That wasn't even a full conversation, was it?
Oh man.
All right.
Well, this is really awkward.
Well, this is awkward now. Yeah.
Why don't we just do
I
a
thought the-
disciplinary meeting on air as well while we're at it?
Yeah, why not?
I thought the conversation was coming.
No, I thought we were having the conversation when we were at the Berwick, at the PNG, another sponsor of
Shout
Berwick.
out PNG.
Their Easter Carnival yesterday, which Tristan and I were at with Joshy and Simon. I thought when we were kicking the ball around, we agreed you were coming on Friday night, but we weren't going to make a regular habit of it. If the games clash in future, you won't come. You'll play your game.
Well, I'll be there on Friday in this case.
If I need to write a note to your coach to like excuse you, like I'm happy to do it.
Yes.
Sure.
We'll pass on a note. Yes.
And who else is going to be there?
Harry's going to be there again.
Come down, say hi.
Same deal. He will be there because I'm not. But also, too, we feel like for those newcomers that come along, we want to still have the merch stall.
So I'm
going.
doing merch again.
We may as well.
Yeah.
I think.
The scarves are cool.
So
Get
it
yourself a
worked.
scarf.
Get a scarf.
The
get a
merch
beanie.
stall worked being outside. Like, well, I think it was good to promote it.
Yeah.
But like in future, I think we can move that merch stall inside next to the bar. No?
No.
No, I'd keep it outside.
I keep it outside as well.
I think it was in a great
I want
spot.
people.
Okay, but someone
I
has
want
to-
it to be
someone
so
has-
overt that people are tripping over it, so they have to buy merch.
People
Yes,
were
I
tripping
know,
over the
yes.
extension cord because there's no power out there. I had
There's
to
gonna
put
be
it
a
through the
lot of
window.
extension cords. Have we got public liability insurance?
We do. But I don't think we can take the piss. All right, so we're leaving it outside.
Yeah.
If we've got someone to man it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Yes.
Or woman it.
Progressive.
Thank you. Okay, cool. We'll discuss that. Also, another shout out. I know we're doing shout outs left, right, and center. Tristan, what was the name of the lovely man who sold the cookies?
His name was Luke, the dough doctor.
The dough. So local business.
Local business from Berwick. Really nice guy. Sold some really lovely cookies, and hopefully he gets down again.
I don't think he. So I think he sold a few. He said to me at the start of the night, if I don't sell any, it doesn't matter. It's more like awareness.
Yeah.
My God, those cookies.
Yeah, they were legit.
Oh.
They were legit.
They were some of the nicest things I've ever had. Now, we need to put him in a different position. I think we need to put him like next to the canteen or
I
something.
agree. So
Yeah.
at the start of the night, I told him go closer to the door or closer to the merch stand, but I think he felt a bit bad going over there.
That's my territory.
Yeah. Okay.
Nah, we'll put him more next to the
away.
canteen.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so I don't think we go over then with massive marketing push and all that sort of stuff any more than just your socials and your community engagement types. I was in like, when I say community engagement, like the internal rah-rah to the 700 odd players and their parents to sort of come along.
Are we doing a halftime game?
Yeah, so halftime game needs to be every week. I don't know what that one is yet.
We don't know yet.
Well, I want to do the crossbar challenge, but I kind of want to make sure I'm there for the crossbar challenge, unless you want to run it.
When?
save it.
Yeah.
We can save it.
When does this come out?
Tomorrow.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Oh,
All right.
Wednesday, sorry. Yes.
Let us know what you want us to do.
Oh yeah, well then there's that as
Reach
well.
out,
If
like,
people have
if
people have halftime
If you
game
have ideas,
People have
suggestions
ideas.
on what we can do for halftime
Heck,
games,
if you want to run it as well, come on down.
turnkey real estate guys want to do, I want to be involved in some sort of penalty shootout challenge. I think like
Elite.
Jordan
Sure,
or Justin
sounds
will be
good.
the goalkeeper.
Amazing.
Actually, that's one you can do, like a knockout. You can get like 10. So 10, you draw out 10 raffle. I think the idea is you buy a raffle ticket for your chance to enter into the game, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And then some weeks there might be one, depending on what it is. Some weeks might be three. So you could draw out 10. And you could have a penalty shootout knockout challenge. Justin or Jordan is the goalkeeper, and then the last person standing wins the prize.
We'll just make sure Harry isn't selling the raffle tickets.
No, I can sell them. Just someone briefs me beforehand.
Well, no, but look, to be fair to Harry, it was a complicated one because you were handing out a tennis ball and a raffle ticket. In future, unless we do the tennis ball game again, which we'll have to, because then you're getting more ROI off those tennis balls because we've already bought them. You're only handing out a raffle ticket.
No, I don't even
Surely
know
you
the
can't
raffle
stuff that
ticket
up.
book existed. Literally, no one had told me.
Okay. Anyway, fine. No, that's probably fair.
We'll take it off air.
Yeah, we will. And then I think, we need to target a few other match days throughout the course of the year rather than
Absolutely.
go hard on every single one.
Yeah.
Because we're doing the same for the documentary too. So that people want to, like, we are not going to have we're not going to even have cameras down at every game. We'll have obviously video cameras that we can rely upon for match footage.
Yeah.
But like apart from like, hopefully at the end of the year we're talking about a promotion push, so we'll have lots of cameras and all that sort of stuff there. We went chips in on Friday night for the first game. We had 4 of our cameras there plus Jimmy on the socials and everything like that. So it'll come up really great because we'll have like one episode essentially dedicated to the first game. But then throughout the course of the year we might have one camera at a few games, 1 or 2 cameras at a few different games, and then the rest will rely on video because again we're not a Drive to Survive, Welcome to Wrexham sort of multi-million-dollar production who would have like 30 different people at every game. Like
But you can support us so we can get to that level.
Man, you are
by buying a Breaking Barriers membership on the Berwick City Soccer Club page.
$10.
$10. You get exclusive updates. We haven't worked out what those exclusive updates are yet.
No, actually, we need to talk about that.
We do need to talk about that.
Because we're doing a million different things.
Yeah. So
you get a bumper sticker.
You get a bumper sticker. Sign up. Ground floor. You can tell your kids in 10 years when we're playing in the A League that you were not a
You were there
member.
from day one.
Yeah, you were there from day one.
Yeah. Essentially, we haven't really marketed it too hard yet, but like we saw a few people, including Stefan Mork, the A-League player, saying on Twitter, we should do a crowdfunding campaign for these guys when we find out what the club is. And we was like, well, let's just make it easier and like direct that straight into the club.
It's kind of like the Tassie Demons. But just similar to
Tassie
that.
Devils.
Yes. So Devils.
Yeah.
So.
They played their first game of the weekend too.
They did. They won the first quarter.
They won the
game.
They won the game. I stopped
did.
watching after the first quarter.
So I think Berwick play Casey Comets, which is their local City of Casey rivals. I think on like May 22 or something like that. So that'll be definitely one game we target. Then we'll target 1 or 2 others. Yeah. Tristan wants to do a market night.
He does.
But there's competition between you guys around who came up with this idea.
I will take no responsibility for the idea. I'll give it to Harry. He did come up with it. But I'm his sidekick, like you often.
Hey man, we're partners.
We're partners. Yeah. So I'll try and come up with this idea,
Well, look, an idea is an idea until someone actually does something about it.
Correct, exactly.
So
exactly.
There we go.
Well in tandem, right?
Yeah, absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. We're keen to do heaps of cool marketing stuff that we'd love to see at A-League level, but obviously, at State League level. So
we were talking. There's actually only really one Friday night that we can do this market thing. We haven't even run this by the club yet.
Yeah.
So,
but
it's Friday,
April 10.
April 10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But if you're keen...
Peninsula Strikers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So get on that.
Wait, that's soon, April 10. Wow.
Well, because then after that, we have there's the Casey Derby, which we want to sell itself in a different way. Yeah. Then there's a Saturday home game against Gippsland because they can't play Friday nights. There's a Thursday night home game against North Caulfield, which again, case in point, it's because of the Anzac Day weekend and North Caulfield can't play Saturday games, all that sort of stuff. So it has to be a Thursday. With the greatest of respect, middle of winter, I don't think people are turning up to that.
Why are you trying to discount?
No, I'm just saying. Like maybe, I just think it's a struggle. Maybe not.
We'll see.
Maybe not. Although, actually, having said that, that is a night that then juniors do.
Yes,
train
I was going to say.
there.
Yeah, there would be a lot of juniors down there if they're training beforehand.
That's interesting. Again,
It's just something to do. If you're
I
in
get
the
it.
area,
But still, it's a
come
Thursday
down.
night. It's a Thursday night. Maybe
I
we
don't
need to
think we should-
maybe that's a night that we need
Yeah.
to make sure the reserves are not playing, and so
Yes,
you can
yes.
make that kickoff time.
Yes.
Yeah.
7:30,
7:30.
something like that.
I don't think we should get too hung up on the whole winter aspect. Like, I know it gets cold, obviously, but what are you going to do?
I'm with Jimmy.
Go and buy a
100,000
puffer
people go to
jacket
the
at
footy.
Harry's merch stand.
Yeah,
Go and
puffer
grab a hoodie.
jackets. We got scarves. We got hoodies.
Get a beanie.
We've
We
got
They look
blankets.
great.
We've still got about 7,000 of Tim's 50-year anniversary black hoodies, which Tristan gave out about 800 of them for free at the Berwick Easter show yesterday. Thank you.
Honestly, if you're a football nuffy or whatever, and you absolutely love it like us, and you've always wanted to see cool marketing activations done, or you had ideas playing Football Manager one night, and you'd love to see that in real life, let us know. Like, we're so flexible with this thing. We want to have fun with it. We want to do cool stuff. So, honestly, drop it in the comments. Let us know.
No, it's interesting. So have your expectations on this whole thing changed after Friday night?
I think it was, like, not that I didn't know it was going to be, this whole thing is just tough, but it's a real sort of down-to-earth grounding moment where you're like, okay, this is where the real stuff starts.
People actually care, which is like the coolest part. And I also, I just think it's like, I think if you're a potential sponsor or whatever, and you have a business in Berwick, like just seeing how like, well, how much the turnkey real estate people were absolutely loving being down there, and then how much like, you know, ROI the Mercedes-Benz people were getting, people just getting through. I just think like,
Allegedly, they've already made a sale based on our sponsorship.
ka-ching.
So I would have thought their sponsorship's already almost paid for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like, for me, that was the biggest thing. I was like, man, this stuff's actually generally not only got legs in a grassroots and a football perspective, but also for like an ROI for local businesses in the area.
Yes, because we will work hard for them.
Yeah, it's not just your name on like a, you know, a banner or whatever. Like
No.
there's actually like a bid to be made here.
Yeah. I'm talking, so there's a great brewery down in Berwick called 3806, the postcode brewery, who have already come on board as a sponsor. We have a tap down at the club that has no keg. So trying to get one of their beers down there. And they also want to do a Berwick City can at some point in time that we can stock,
Which is
would be
awesome.
Really
Awesome.
cool.
Mate, I'll be enjoying a 3806 beer on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Good fun.
So yeah, onwards and upwards. It's exciting. Man, it's a long way to go.
Yeah, but it's a great start.
Yeah, it was
Off the field.
It was cool.
Yes.
And on the field. No, look, they were solid on the field. We obviously just need to.
Brandon Parker does class. They're good club.
And again, and State League 2 results are always just random, right? So we beat Waverley Wanderers in the Australia Cup 2-0. Waverley Wanderers won their first game the other day. Off the top of my head, I cannot remember who they played. I apologise. But they won their first game 2-0. So again, there's going to be a lot of variables, but
Onwards and upwards.
onwards and upwards. Any last words, producer Tristan?
No, I think you'll have done really well, and good luck to Berwick for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be there to support all the time.
Certainly. Any thoughts from you guys? No.
Come down Friday night.
Yep.
Buy some merch, please.
And go to the canteen and grab a pizza from Fabio because
The pizzas
Cannot
are
speak-
actually, the pizzas
cannot
looked
speak highly enough.
insanely good.
He was a broken man.
Oh, big night.
He was run
Yeah.
off his feet. But
But
he
he-
was then. I saw him then on Saturday morning, and he was so happy.
Yeah.
So like, So
But even the team at the canteen, like,
Yeah,
what
they
is
did
it?
a great-
The chicken schnitty sandwich, honestly,
Oh,
yeah, the
honestly,
burgers
unreal.
were good.
was
I heard
tops,
good things about
mate.
the burgers.
$8
Yeah.
for
$8
that,
bucks.
plus a
$5
beer
for some hot
$7
chips.
or $8.
Bob at the canteen
You are
and
set.
his team.
laughing.
Yeah, you have
Fantastic.
that, and Bob's your uncle.
Hey.
Hey.
That's really good. All right. On that note, we will leave you to it. Thank you very much, as always, for joining in the Building Blocks podcast. We will see you again in a fortnight, looking back on Berwick's round 2 game against Chisholm United and looking forward to the rest of the season. We obviously won't hear from you or you won't hear from us between now and then. So I just want to say happy Easter to all those who celebrate and obviously have a safe and enjoyable time away. And yeah, hopefully for those of you that are local, we'll see you down at the club over the course of the next few weeks. Bye for now.